Um, the unique thing with this is that it has the two hills that occupy along the center part of the map. A14 and A17 are the objectives. However, the unique part is that to score objective points, you must capture the hill furthest away from you. To have, you can capture both of them, but unless you capture the hill furthest away from you, you don't score any points. So in my case, where I'm moving on the map from left to right, I have to capture hill A14 to have hill A17 count as anything. So that's the unique aspect of this scenario. So as Rob indicated, we had already played the first two turns to get the forces up into closer action because we enter from off the map. And so we'll be starting turn 3. And we would start that by placing commands as our first action because commands are placed before you determine the initiative. So before we get into that, are there any initial questions? Okay, I guess we can go on ahead, Rob.
All right, so we're on the command phase. Or should we go through the spotting just to kind of go through the process once or twice?
We certainly can. As I'm looking over the map, I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe anything can see each other. Do you concur, Rob?
Yep, the only ones I wasn't quite sure about were my two up on the hill there, but yeah, the line of sight definitely goes through those woods there, so they're not seeing anybody. And it looks like woods and hills are blocking everybody else, so yes, I concur.
Not sure if we're experiencing some lag or something, but I haven't heard anything for a while.
I think after we discussed the spotting, we were going ahead and putting out commands.
Gotcha, thank you.
Yeah, we just finished spotting phase, so now we're into the command phase.
So what happens in the command phase is both players place their command tokens down individually. You want to run through that and kind of explain what you're doing there?
Of the 5 types of commands, and 4 of them are actions, and the 5th one is no command. You assign them to individual units or groups of units because we are using command control, which means there are a limited amount of commands. So with command control in effect, there will always be less commands than you have actual units available. So some of the units will be required to share commands. So I've assigned all of my commands on the Soviet side, which is the left-hand side of the map as you look at it. So you see there are commands down, and they are with groups of units. Now, I have actually a few more than I've placed out, but based on what I plan to do this turn, that is not a problem for me. And as you see on the German side, Rob is doing the same thing. And typically in a game, whether face-to-face or here on Vassal, you would point out to your opponent if there's any question or confusion which commands cover which units. And as I see right now, if I were looking at Rob's units, I would say that's pretty straightforward. I don't have any question as to which of his units have commands assigned to him. And if he were to look at mine, he could ask the same thing as to which commands went with which units.
Yeah, we should say too, there was a question here about, just to let everybody know what rules we're using. We are using all the advanced rules. And then I believe we said we are using turrets, but that's the only optional rule that we're using.
That's correct. We are using all of the advanced rules.
So I think, kind of like Jim said, I've got my commands out here. I'm using many fewer commands than I actually have available to me, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm assigning just one into these hexes where I've got a whole bunch of tanks in one hex. Because of the size of my force, I've got 18 active units, which would potentially give me 11 commands that I could actually assign. But I'm only not even using half of those available to me. But maybe within the next turn or two here, I'll probably start using some more of them.
As it happens in this scenario, both opposing forces start out with the same number of combat units, which is 18, and we have the same formation grade, so we would have the same number of available commands as the game starts. Now, as you incur losses, then that impacts the number of commands you would have available.
Okay, well, I've got all mine placed and I'm ready to go.
I have all mine placed. I'm ready to go. And let's see, you won the initiative on turn 2, so you can go ahead and roll.
Okay. $90, that's pretty good.
Okay, I presume you want to be first player.
I think that I will, yes. So we've done our initiative rules here, just looking down the sequence of play. Don't have any air phase in this since we don't have any aircraft in place, so we can skip past that and get to the combat
And no
phase.
indirect fire.
No indirect fire either.
So that
so
moves
that takes
into
us to direct fire.
Correct. So, and as first player, Rob would be able to fire first, but as we already determined in the spotting phase, there are no units that see each other on either side, so there wouldn't be any direct fire. So then that would move then to the movement phase, and as second player, the Soviets, my force is required to move first.
You can follow along if you look at the terrain effects chart. If you have it in front of you, or if you click on the toolbar up here on the charts button, you can pull it up and you can see how many movement points it costs for the vehicles to enter each of these hexes. Oh, and Jim, I turned on the names of a few of each type of vehicle that I have, just so it's clear. You may want to do the same on your side, just so everybody knows which is which.
Okay. So my group of T-3485s in the southern part of the map I just moved are started on the path, so they may utilize the path movement rate, which is 8 hexes.
Yeah, John was
However,
just
I must
typing a message here.
maintain. Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. He's asking about what the numbers on the counters mean. So that's, yeah, you go ahead and explain. That's good.
The numbers on the counters where you see like the T-3485, which is 5T8-12. The 5T indicates that T is that it's a track vehicle. The 5 is its cross-country movement rate. The 8 is its movement rate on a path, and the 12 is its movement rate on a road. On this map, the paths are in the brown color, and the roads are in the gray color. And so, as the direction I'm moving, I only have ability to use the path rate at this point. Where you find a mix of road and path, you get to use the rate, whichever is the greatest number of hexes that you'll be covering. So if you were going to move on 3 path hexes and 5 road hexes, you could use the road rate for that entire movement. Rob, my unit in 1609,
Uh-huh.
even though it has a move command, I'm using I'm not moving it.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got everybody set.
Not that it matters here, but I'm just curious. When you do that, when you issue a move order, but you don't actually move the counter, do you still get marked with a spotted counter?
You would, yes. You're still considered to be moving, but a no move, you're not required to actually leave the hex. The hexes are 100 meters across, so you are moving. You're moving within that hex, but you are considered to still be moving. So that's why I changed his status to show that he is moving.
Thanks.
All right, Jim. So you're set with all your moves.
Yes.
All right. I'll start with mine then. So since most of my tanks are still down here on this path as well, I'm probably going to be using that path movement rate as well, which for me, most of mine are 5.
Now you are limited to the stacking, which is 5.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm loaded up to the max with each of these 2 hexes right now.
When a vehicle moves along a path or a road, and as Rob is showing there, you are required to maintain the facing of the road or path. So if you're taking advantage of the faster rate, which means you are following the road or path, the vehicle must maintain its facing in the direction of the road or path.
I think I'm just going to take this big group and move them all together as one here just for simplicity's sake, even though, of course, technically you should do it one at a time. But since
Okay.
it doesn't look like
Yeah,
there's
there really
gonna be
isn't any
shooting at them,
chance
it's
of
probably safe to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance of opportunity fire. They need to rotate 1 clockwise.
Oh, even though that was their last hex they moved into?
Yeah, because they still are using the road rate.
Okay.
Units that are sharing commands, in this case, commands, a move command, are required to be within command range of each other at the conclusion of their move. So that's where you can move units individually for the sake of overwatch fire, as long as all the units that were sharing the command are within command range, which in this case it's 1 hex. Okay, so that at the end of the turn, the activities you would take is to remove commands. And in the game, you are required that if you have a command to fire or a command to move, you are required to execute those commands. So it's not a matter of you can just decide, well, I'm not going to do that, because there are sequential aspects of the game where fire can trigger overwatch and that type of thing. So that's why at the very end here I turn over my last unit's command there to show that That was an Overwatch command, so it wasn't something sitting on necessarily, and I didn't want to reveal it. Um, and then, so what we do is we would then go ahead and remove all the commands. You can go ahead and do that, Rob.
Okay. Okay, that's done.
And then we're starting turn 4, and at the beginning of turn 4, we again would do the spotting, and it appears that uh, everything is still um, hidden from each other as far as I see. What do you see, Rob?
Yep, that still looks right to me.
Oh, one thing we forgot. At the end of the turn, when we were removing the commands, we would also be able to adjust turrets. So I had a couple that I wanted to adjust turrets.
Okay. Looking at the turn track, we should point out to people too, in addition to what you see on the screen, we both have leg units that are loaded on our trucks. Each of us have, I think, 3 or 4 trucks that we have in play here. You can see those on the transport and summary track that is on the turn track window. If you click on that on the toolbar, you can see what we've got loaded up on our trucks.
Okay, given that there aren't any sighted units, we can remove all of the spot counters.
Yep, done.
And then we start turn 4 again by placing our commands.
Yep, John's asking about how you determine how many commands you get. Yeah, you're right, it is by force grade. If you look on that available commands chart along the left-hand side, see there's it lists the available grades and then how many commands you would get for that particular grade. In this case, we're both seasoned, so we're both working on the same row of that chart.
And that chart, if you look under, given that we have 18 units, you look under the 10 column, and that shows 6, and then you look under the 8 column, and that has a 5, then you add those two values together, and then that's how we arrive at 11. So if you had a force that had 25 units, for example, then the number under the 10, the 6, you would take that twice because it's 20, 2 10s, that'd be 12, and then under the 5 you find 3, so then you would have 15. And that's how you read that table. And then you see on the far right-hand side it shows 1 hex. That's the command range I was speaking about earlier.
And I'm all set with my commands.
I am also set. So go ahead and Rob, you can roll for initiative.
Okay.
Now it looks like you won again. So I assume you want to be first place.
I will continue to be first, yes.
Okay. I would ask, you had any direct fire? I assume you did not.
Yep, yeah, we still can't see each other, so no direct fire possible.
And I do not have any direct fire, so I, as second player, will go ahead and move.
Okay. Well, looks like we're unloading some infantry up on that hill, huh?
That could be.
Yeah, we're sort of doing the dance of death here with the Soviets making the big push on the southern road and the Germans making a big push the other way on the northern road.
John asked a question about uh, command. When units are sharing a command and on a move, that means when they finish their move, they must be within command range of one another. I could actually be within one hex of each other and sharing that command, but in this case I just decided to put them together. But that's one of the restrictions when you're sharing a command with movement, that they must end their move within command range of each other. There's an exception if a unit were to take a track hit, it can be left behind. Everybody else wouldn't have to stay with it.
And if you need to look it up, you can see that command range. That's also on that available commands table on this game card C on the player aid card. It's on the right-hand side of that table. You'll see what the command range is for each force grade type.
Okay, Rob, I'm pretty well set. Again, my unit in 1609, even though it has a move, I'm not moving out of the hex.
Okay, got it. Yeah, John, you're exactly right. He's asking for regular and green. You'd have to stack them. Yeah, if you want to share commands, then you're right. You would have to put them all in one hex.
All right, everybody's good. You're up.
Okay. Oh, and I should tell you, since now my commands are not quite as self-explanatory, probably. So starting at the at the lead of this column going down the road here, I've got the two tigers who are sharing one command.
Okay, and then the Mark IVs are on the other command.
Yep, and then the other three Mark IVs are sharing that other command in this lead hex here. And then the one behind them, I'll split it up. Three of them will take one, and the other two will take the other command for that particular hex. The others should be self-explanatory.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, well, we might as well get the fireworks started here, so I think I'm probably going to give you a big juicy target to shoot at.
Well, I think he needs to move back.
Okay, alright.
And one more.
Starting right there?
Yeah, because you see my tanks down in the southern sector. It's one more hex back.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll back him up to right. Alright, so right there?
Yep, because they have a line of sight between the hills there.
Yes, they do. These are the T-34s in the rear of your column that are shooting all the way across the board, basically. Alright, so you're shooting at me, Jim, then? Did we lose Jim?
On game card, okay, we are shooting, and so it's medium range for my T-3485, because it's medium range from 8 to 13 hexes, and the range is 12 hexes. So on game card A, the AP hit table, it starts with a, under the 0 row M column is a 50. Then we have to check the modifiers. So we look on the next table, so the AP hit modifiers, the target size on this case for the 4H is 0. So there's no modifier for that. The target is moving, so that's a -2. There's no cover. Short hauled is only if you have a short hauled command. And as you go down the list, the only other modifier then would be Overwatch, is -1. So that means that's a total of -3. You agree, Rob?
Yep, I guess I don't get any modifier for obscuring from all these smoky engines from these tanks, huh?
It's not that smoky. So that means
Oh, well.
I have a 35. I need to roll 35 or less to hit.
Yep,
Okay,
okay,
so
go
I
for it.
will go ahead and roll. I gotta like that.
That's not starting out well.
Okay, so now we determine what the hit angle is, and that is rear side. And then I
Never a
roll.
good place to be hit if it's your tank.
Exactly. And so you in the course of a normal game you would again roll both d10s, but in this case you're taking them individually. So what we typically do in Vassal is we roll individual d10s, and you see those are available there. So the first one indicates where the vehicle was hit, then the second one is for the damage component. So I hit in the 4,
Turret rear.
which on the AP hit location's rear side table indicates I hit him in the turret rear. And in the case of the Mark 4H, it's armor. On
Looks
the
like it's a 7 on the
is
turret
a-
rear for the rear side.
Yep. But unfortunately for me, I rolled a 1, which was no damage. But Rob still has to roll to see the fact that he took a penetrating hit. He must roll to see if they decide to bail out. And so a no damage in this case would be 10 or less.
Yeah, that is fortunate. I'm sure you penetrated a lot more than 7, so it was quite fortunate for me.
Yes, we did. We penetrated 20.
Okay, alright, so I will make this roll to see if I still bail out in spite of it. So I will bail on a 10 or less. No, they're not scared in the least.
Okay, so that unit can continue moving.
Yeah, this is my guy who's just trolling for fire here, I think. Alright, so he's used 1 movement point so far, so he will keep going down the road.
Just out of curiosity, you have 3 tanks there marked with Overwatch. Why not fire all 3 of them?
Well, you're presuming they're marked with Overwatch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see the other 2 commands. I wasn't looking carefully. The perils of being zoomed out too far.
Yes, there's 3 tanks, 3 commands.
Alright, I'm moving up to there, Jim, and I'm guessing you might have some more Overwatch waiting for me.
That's a possibility. Roll on AP or on GP. You can actually roll before you check all the modifiers, because especially on longer range shots, you know that the hit percentage is going to be lower. So if you go ahead and roll, and if you end up with a number that's higher than what the base is, you pretty much know that you missed, and you don't have to go through all the steps of what the modifiers were.
Yep. Hey guys, we're ready to roll again, so go ahead and carry on.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
Rob, I'm not going to shoot at that guy in that hex, so you can keep moving.
Alright, I will finish up his move then.
I am going to shoot at that guy, though.
Oh, okay. I'll stop right there. Oh, and you probably want to mark that first guy as fired, the one who took the first Overwatch shot.
So I missed the second guy, so you can keep moving.
You missed him, but I didn't see. Did you roll for him?
Yes, I did roll. If you go up the line there, you'll see right after John's comment, I rolled a 46.
Oh, that was okay. And so, yeah, it was the exact same shot as the first one, so it was another case where you needed a 35 or less. Okay. Okay, then, I'll keep moving with him. And here's the last of the Mark IVs that are moving in that group.
Okay, I'll shoot at him there with my last group.
Okay. And same deal, needing a 35 or less.
Okay, I'll go ahead and roll that now. Okay, that's better.
John, they would have to, if they all share the order, they all have to fire in accordance with that order. But since he's got 3 different orders, each can pick its own shot.
Yeah, John, if all 3 of those tanks were on the same Overwatch command, they would have to fire at the same target. But that's why I gave them individual commands. Okay, Rob, I'll go ahead and roll the hit location, and then I'll roll the damage.
Yeah, don't think I'm going to survive that one.
Okay, the hit location is a 1, so I hit the turret side.
The turret side on the rear side part of the chart gives me an 8 armor. And I'm sure you penetrate. I think you said you had 20. You penetrated at 20 at that range?
Correct. So we penetrated, and I rolled a 5, which is a KO.
Knocked out for me. All right, you got
Alrighty.
one of them.
Yep, you can keep on moving.
Okay.
I can't remember how this works, but if you get KO'd like that on a road, does that or on a track or trail, does that impede the road or trail movement?
It certainly does. So the following units there, because there's a wreck there on the road, they can't move at the bonus rate.
Can I use one of my tigers to push that wreck off the road?
No.
House rule? House rule? What do you say?
Well, there is actually a rule that allows that, narrow roads. It's in the optional rules.
Oh, is there? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
I hadn't even looked at that.
Yeah. So,
well, this would
but
be a great time to say, let's use that option rule.
yeah, it might be, but you don't get that benefit, so you can just pull off the pass and drive around him.
Oh well, okay. Well, I think my tigers are not going to follow that same path anyway.
Randy, I can tell you what that is. Hang on one second.
So here's a case where these two tigers that just moved, they are sharing the same move command, but since we're seasoned, that gives us a command range of 1, so they can end their move 1 hex apart from each other like that, but no more than 1. Now everybody back on the road is limited to their cross-country movement rates. That's only 3 for most of these guys.
Randy, that rules reference is 4.5.1.1.5. 45115.
Yeah, that wreck is going to screw up my trucks quite a bit here, too.
No sympathy from the Soviets.
Jim, I was just thinking about this, and I'm not sure where it is. My, you see back here on the upper northeastern part of the map, this Panzer IV, can he move up 2 levels of hills like that, or are they only limited to 1 level at a time?
2, and you can always move the 1 hex, but then you can't expend any movement points turning.
Right.
So
right,
he can
okay.
move straight up, but he wouldn't be able to. He could get his free hexside turn. He couldn't turn to face the same direction as the stubs that are there.
Right. Okay. I was thinking I was remembering something about steep terrain, but if that's allowed, then I'll go ahead and move up onto that hill. So we'll at least get in the free turn. Alright, I am all moved.
Okay, any revealing commands, we reveal those.
two stews back on Overwatch there, but no targets for them.
And my guy in the hedgerow there, he was on Overwatch, but he was holding out. If the other guys missed and you moved the tigers up there, he was going to go for them.
I'm sure.
Okay, so it looks like we can remove all the commands.
Okay.
And so then we would start beginning at turn 5 with spotting. So up here and yes, thank you. We need to do turrets. Thank you, Joel.
Oh yes, thanks. Yeah, I probably have some I'm gonna adjust to. Oh yeah, I didn't see John is asking about your guy that was between the hedgerows there. I didn't see. Was he on Overwatch, or did you actually have him
Yes,
moving?
he was. And Overwatch opportunity is as a unit moves, so either moving within a hex or moving to a new hex. So those two Mark IVs there in Hex 1803, when I declined to shoot at them when they entered that hex, I cannot come back later and say, okay, now I decided I'm going to shoot.
Right.
So he didn't take a shot, so because I was waiting in anticipation of something else. So I cannot then go back and say, now I want to shoot.
Oh, right. He was the guy you said was waiting, hoping the tigers were going to be coming into view. Okay, I got it.
Correct. Okay, all my turrets are good.
And mine are too.
All right, so now we would check for spotting. So obviously those two guys there, your two Mark IVs and my SU-85 can see each other.
Very much so.
And it appears then, but it looks like every else of your units out there in that group, all your other units are not spotted.
Yep. Yeah, I was just checking the line of sight for that northernmost tiger, but he does not quite see your guy behind the woods there.
No, because it cuts that heavy woods hex. So
Yep.
all those tanks and your trucks, you can take the spot off of them, and your tank that's up on the hill in the northeast corner. And it looks like all of my guys are not spotted. Yes, John, it's the hex. That's why you see the spotting dots in the middle of each hex, because you measure from the center of each hex to the center of each hex. So it's not, if you clip just a little section of the artwork where you just miss it, it's the whole hex, it comes into play. Okay, I think we're pretty squared away with who can see whom, and so we can go ahead and mark commands.
And since I've lost one of my units, I'm now down to 10 commands available to me instead of 11. When you add up the results for the 10 and the 7 columns, since that equals 17, my total number of active units, that gives me 6 commands plus 4 commands, so 10 total. Alright, I'm set with mine.
Okay, I am set also. You can go ahead and roll for initiative, Rob.
Okay.
Now that was a tough one.
Ooh. Just gotcha. On a very important one, too.
I'm sure you're first player.
Oh, yeah.
All right, you may go ahead and declare any direct fire.
Probably no surprise there. Those guys are shooting.
Well, that's probably point blank, wouldn't you say?
Let me see. Let me pull up the card for these guys. Yep, point blank goes out to 4 hexes for me, so at 3 we are definitely in point blank range.
Okay, I am not moving.
Okay, so point blank range starts out at a 90 to hit. You don't have a size modifier, do you?
No, I do not. 0.
Okay. See, if you're not moving, then I don't think we have any modifiers that are going to apply to this.
No, we do not.
Alright, well, 90% chance to hit, I'll definitely take that. So we'll shoot up here with this guy first, and we'll make the roll. And he hits. Alright, here's the location. And the damage.
Location's 4.
So you hit Turk front, and
Yep.
you penetrate what?
25.
And I have, excuse me, I have 18.
So we
So
definitely
you
punched
penetrated and you rolled a 10. That looks like the old brew up.
through. Yeah, we'll take that. The only downside is that my second tank up there in that group that had the fire command basically doesn't get to shoot now because there's nobody left to shoot at.
That's an SU-85. That's not a T-34-85. And the angle is front. So even on a T-34-85, it would have been 21, but that's an SU-85 where it's 18.
Okay, Jim, that
All
is
right.
all my direct fire.
And unfortunately, 18 in hex 1804 um, where my guy got torched, that's clear terrain. It's 1504. Oh, 1804?
Yeah, he's
Or is
asking about
18?
1804. What is it? The light woods that's right under my 2 lead Mark IVs.
Yeah, that's light woods. There's 3 types of woods. Light woods, you see there with the little individual trees, and then just below that, these solid green, that's woods, and then a little further down where you see a solid, very dark green, that's heavy woods. Okay, I don't have any direct fire, so it looks like I would go ahead and move.
Go ahead.
Tracking.
Okay, that's everybody.
Okay. Yeah, John's asking about spotting capability. I believe in the basic game they spot in 360 degrees, right?
Well, you spot, even in the advanced game, you spot 360 degrees unless you're suppressed. But, when you're using turrets, even though you could spot, talking about vehicles, even though you could spot, you wouldn't be able to fire at something that was outside of your field of fire. Or you had a vehicle with a, you know, fixed gun position like my Su-85s or his Strumgeschutzes. You could still spot something, but you wouldn't be able to shoot at it necessarily.
See, now these two that are behind my guys who fired, they looks like they'll be eligible to use that path rate again since they're past the wreck behind them.
Correct. But they do have the my wreck in front of them.
Yes, there's a new wreck, but at least it's yours and not mine. So essentially they could only go there, and then they would have to stop, right?
Correct.
Alright, here comes a few more Overwatch chances for you. A nice, juicy, soft truck.
So I'm going to fire GP, and I have a GP factor of 4. Since it's a soft target, I could fire AP at the truck, but I'm actually better off firing GP, which is high explosive. And so we use the GP combat results tables, which are found on game card B. The truck has a GP defense of 1. So looking at the GP combat results table, which is on the upper left of game card B, the GP factors are across the top, and so my 4 is cross-referenced with his GP defenses, which run along the side, left to right. So 4 versus 1, and you see 2 numbers listed, 38 and 66. One is on the N line, one is on the S line. So what these mean are, if I roll a 38 or less, because with GP fire you want to roll high, with AP fire you want to roll low. So if I roll a 38 or less, I did N, no damage. If I roll from 39 to 66, inclusive, the S, that's suppressed. If I roll 67 or higher, that results in an effective hit. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and give that a roll, all right?
And Jim, is it fair to say this is basically representing the tank firing more or less with its machine guns rather than the main gun?
No, it is the main gun.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yes. Now, we do have modifiers, and on the GP table, it's all die roll modifiers, as opposed to AP is where you're actually affecting the number that you can hit. So looking at those modifiers at the top of the table adjacent to it, target vehicle moving DF, which is direct fire. This is direct fire. Overwatch fire is a form of direct fire. And that's a -10. And then the only other modifier that comes into play is Overwatch, which is -5. So I have whatever I roll minus 15. Those are the modifiers. Here's my roll. Oh, gotta like that. So 87, that gives me a net 72. So that means it was greater than 66, so that means the shot was effective. And effective results in 4 possible options: damaged, track hit, knocked out, or brewed up. So, and when you're firing GP at vehicles, you utilize the rule of 5s and 10s, meaning if what you rolled ends up, the net result ends up in a 5 or a 10, then that could result in the vehicle being damaged or a track hit, which in this case, since the net result was 72, it did not end in a 5 or a 10. And so then we determine if I am effective against that type of vehicle, and I am effective, if you look on this SU-85's card on the GP line, it's effective on GP defenses 1 to 3, so it's effective against a 1. And then we determine whether I actually knocked him out or brewed him up.
John's asking what chart we're on. We're basically using the data cards now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so am I looking at the truck's data card here to see what happens next?
Yeah, you have a GP defense of 1, so we already know that the hit was effective. So now, and it didn't end in if it had ended in a 5, that would have been a damage hit. If it had ended in a 10, 0, that would have been a track hit. And we know it ended in a 2, 72. So it's going to be either knocked out or brewed up. And we determine that if an effective result and not a damage or track hit, I roll a d10 to determine knockout or brew up. Brew up if equal to or less than the shooter's maximum GP effectiveness factor. Okay? So now I roll a d10, and I got a 9, so it was higher than that. So that means you're knocked out. So the truck's knocked out. And the passengers are not necessarily dead. They have to roll for bailout to see, given that the vehicle was knocked out, if they got out alive, essentially, is what you're determining. And they have a greater chance of getting out alive on a vehicle that was just knocked out as opposed to one that was brewed up. And that is found on the bailout table, which is on game card B. So, Rob, we're looking at the passengers. It's on the, you'll see, knocked out row. And these are leg units. Unit. So they will bail out and live if you roll a 21 or higher. And if you have more than one unit being transported, then you would roll them individually. But I suppose is there more than one unit in there? Looks like truck
let's see,
402.
There is in the second.
Yeah, so it's just that
the one leg unit. Yep. Okay.
So you roll on the 100, and if you get 21 or higher, it gets out alive. Okay, it did.
And
so you place that infantry unit in that hex, and given that he bailed out, he is also suppressed.
Let me grab a suppressed mark.
So everybody see how we did that? Any questions? So first you determine the GP fire, and then based on the net number rolled, first of all, whether it's no damage, suppressed, or effective. If effective, then you determine the type of damage you inflicted on the target. In this case, was a knockout. All right, who's next?
Who's next? Well, we're going to foolishly try and run the gauntlet some more, I guess. comes another
Okay,
one.
I got somebody for him too.
At least this is good to give a chance to show how GP fire works too.
Okay, so this would be exactly the same, since all the parameters, what is firing and the type of unit being fired at, is exactly the same. So I would roll again. In this case, I got a 31. And since 31 is 38, see, it's 38 or less, that meant that the shot it was no damage, it was ineffective, so you can continue moving.
Comes the next one.
And I'm shooting at him also. That's the same, so I'll go ahead and roll. Okay, 91, that's better. So that gives me a net 76. So that again is effective. So, and it didn't end in a 5 or a 10, so we know it's not damaged or a track hit. So I can go ahead and roll my D10 to see what I did. Okay, I got a 3, so that's less than my GP number. And so that truck was brewed up.
It seems like the canvas on the side of these trucks isn't really effective armor plating. Is that what you're telling me?
Not much.
And I don't think the crew gets a chance to bail out on that, do they?
Now the crew is never considered. So now in this case, since
I'm
it's
sorry,
brewed
the
up,
passengers is what I meant.
no, they do get a chance to get out.
Okay.
But you have to roll a 61 or higher to get out alive.
Yep, okay, I see that. All right, here's the roll.
And they fell
make
over
it.
the side.
They
So that
lost
unit
no
is
time in getting
also
out of
placed.
that burning truck.
Yes, they're placed in the hex, and they're also suppressed.
Yeah, there's a lot of units and wrecks jammed up in this hex now, but hopefully it's clear at least what's going on.
And your last truck, since I only had 3 guys that could shoot, I guess he can go on his merry way. Now, his movement is affected because, now there's brew up smoke in that hex.
Oh yeah, let me see what the penalty is for that.
It's a +1 movement point. So to enter that hex costs 2. The trucks have a movement factor
to make it there.
4. They have a movement factor of 4, so he can get in with the other truck.
Oh, right. All right, I'll just leave him there.
Okay, and the remainder of your moves.
Okay, and that is it.
All righty.
And I'm actually thinking just for, we can at least do maybe one more turn here. I'm thinking I might, just to give us a chance to show one other type of combat. Jim, what do you think about me dragging one of my leg units over to the hill where your tanks are headed there, and maybe you can show what an overrun looks like or something like that?
Well, we could certainly demonstrate that. I'm more than happy to overrun the Germans.
Okay. Let me.
I couldn't get him in that. I
I'll put
yeah, I
them in
can't get in that
defensive
rough
terrain
X.
then. Oh, you can't.
I couldn't. No, I wouldn't have to move. Yeah, I could go there.
All right, let's pretend that they were actually back there guarding the back door to the hill.
Okay. And as I executed my move, I saw them at that point.
Right.
Okay.
They popped up
My
out of
only
their
other
spider
command
holes.
I had was over on A17 Hill, and you see I had a NC and no command for my infantry. With command control, when you have a limited number of commands, you can place any number of NC commands. They do not count for your total. And there's also reasons why you'd want to use a no command, an NC command, because with suppressed units like Rob had the 2 suppressed units that had to bail out, if they have an NC, no command, it's much easier for them to recover than if they're doing something else. You can do something else when you're suppressed, you just have less chance of recovering than you do if you give them a no command. All right, I guess we need to adjust turrets. Mine are good.
As are mine.
Okay, so we can go ahead and remove all the commands, and then we can check for spotting. So right now, up here in the northern sector, the only thing that can see each other is my Su-85 in the woods and your 3 Mark IVs lined up against it. So the others things we can take the spots off.
Okay, got that done.
And then my 3 overwatching tanks down in the south, nobody can see them. But all the other guys over on the east, they see each other with your 2 Stugs and your Mark IV on the hill there, and my
Yep.
group. Okay. I still see your... there was a question from Randy, can the T-34s and 110 see the Tigers? No, they're blocked from being on the hill because the next hill hex over from them blocks. If we string range, you see as it crosses that hill, they cannot see the Tigers. Okay, so I guess we go ahead and mark commands, right?
Yep. Okay, I've got mine.
All right, we're set.
Oh, let's see, John's asking about another line of sight question here. Which of the Soviet units are you asking about? Oh, he's asking about if you're, yeah, the ones from 11 to 10 can see mine on the hill. The woods, though, is going to be higher. I believe those are 3-level height, right?
Yeah, the woods are 3 levels high, and that Mark IV is on a 2-level hill. So that's blocked. Well, it's actually, these aren't mountains, they're just rises, as opposed to major hill, tall hills. So that, because vehicles being able to negotiate this, they wouldn't be tall mountain kind of things. Because the hill identifiers, like A17, A14, that's a standard nomenclature that indicates how tall the hill is in meters. So the top of that hill, these hills are only 14 and 17 meters, respectively. Okay, so I guess we're rolling for initiative again. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. Oh boy, I like that one.
You're just brutal with that. So I guess you're looking to be first player.
I think so.
All right, so it's your direct fire.
All right, well, we'll start out in the middle of the map here with 3 Mark IVs. And of course, they are all firing at the guy right in front of them.
Okay, I am not moving. So again, that's point blank range, although in this time I am in medium cover. Because they're suppressed on and off, so with on you're suppressed for at least one turn, then it flips to off for the next turn. You have to roll for it, so it's not automatic.
Oh yeah, did we blow by that at the end of the last turn? Should I have rolled to see if that goes to off?
No, it automatically goes to off. It's going to be,
okay.
It automatically goes to off, so at the end of this turn we're doing now, you could roll to see if it comes
right. Okay. So yeah, it does go to off now at the end of that last turn, so that's where it is now.
Okay, thanks.
But the effects are still the same.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no difference in the effects.
All right, we're rolling.
Okay, so I got my 3 guys here firing in hex 1908.
John asked about special ammo. All scenarios have a notation that you can use special ammo. It's at the agreement of the players. So it is available in any scenario. That's noted in the scenario instructions. So if both sides agree that they want to use special ammo, then it's available for the players. Okay, Rob, it's your shot. That's point blank. The difference now is I'm in medium cover. Woods are medium cover, so it's -3.
Yep. So I'd started out with a 90 to hit, but that's going to take me down to needing a 63 to hit.
Correct.
Okay, so I'll go top to bottom in this hex here. So here's the first tank. And he gets a hit. So here comes the location and damage.
Okay, one is the turret front again. That was 18, and a 6, I believe that is a KO. Yep. So you can still keep firing because you could possibly brew it up. It doesn't have any impact on points as far as scoring, but if you want to see what happens.
Okay, well, I'll roll for the next guy down. Well, he misses. And then the last guy, he gets a hit. And then we'll do location and damage. Oh, well, what do you know? That 0 on the damage, I think, will indeed brew him up.
And I was firing back, but that goes away.
Well, you're firing, at least.
Yes. All right. Other shots. You probably got some shots from those guys in the northeast, right?
Yeah, we got a bunch there. Well, I'm going to at least leave you somebody left to do that overrun, so we can show how that works too. Tell you what, let's go ahead and shoot at one of those nice juicy trucks in the back of your column. We'll shoot at the one on the right. And I think I'll go ahead and use GP for this attack as well.
Okay, the range from the Stugs to the trucks is 12. From the Mark IV on the hill is 13. So who all is firing on the trucks?
Well, this just the one right now. Well, and just the one only for this truck on the right.
Is that okay? So you're firing one of the Stugs, or?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So the range is 12. So you have a GP factor of 3.
Right, okay. 3 for me, and then your GP defense is what?
1.
Okay. And are you moving?
Yes, I am. As fast as my little feet will carry me. And that's the only modifier, because this is direct fire. It was different than my shot because it wasn't. You're not firing Overwatch. So
Yep.
you've got 3 versus 1. So your two numbers are 42 and 69, and you're subtracting 10 from the die roll.
Right. All right. So here's the roll.
So that's a net
That
26.
26.
And that's nada.
Big fat
No
miss.
effect. Okay, next shot.
Okay. Alright, the Stug on the left is going to
Okay.
fire at your T-34 that is in 3215, the one that's just by itself.
Okay, that is a range of 11.
Let's see, that
So that's
is medium
medium
range
range.
for me. Mm-hmm.
All right, and I am moving.
Okay, so let's see.
And there's no
Starts out
size modifier.
Yep.
So that would
So
give
it would
you
be 50 to hit, but with a -2, that's going to give me a 40 to hit you.
correct.
Ooh. Well, he misses too.
And the dude on the hill.
That guy, let's shoot at one of your lead T-34s.
Okay, that range is also 11.
Yep.
And that is, since those two vehicles have the same gun, that's medium range. And in this case, I'm not moving. John asked, how do you mark the piece as fired? Okay.
Yeah, we just got it answered
Okay.
there in the chat
Okay,
window.
good.
Okay,
All
I'm
right,
sorry, you
so-
said they are moving or are not moving?
They're not.
I'm assuming
so
they are.
You have,
Oh, they're not. Okay.
no. So you have a 50%. So you got three
All right.
units, 102, 107, 109.
Let's shoot at 109 just because he's the one furthest out in front in that hex. Not that it actually matters, but we'll go with 109.
Okay, so you have a 50%.
I got him.
I would say that might be a hit.
Here is the location. Which
5.
looks like turret front.
Okay, you rolled a 5 for the location.
No, that was
Right?
my 2 hit.
Oh, the hit. Yeah, 2 is the turret.
Remember?
Yeah, it
2
was
is
so
turret
low,
front.
I thought it must have been just
Yeah.
a D10.
it looks like one D10, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, here's the damage.
Okay. Turret front. Now this is falling shot.
Correct.
But it's still, because the turret front is rounded, it's still 21. And you, at 11, penetrate 19.
Only 19, so I do not
What a,
penetrate
that's a tough break.
you sound heartbroken, truly heartbroken.
I'm not. Okay,
So
any
it
other
clangs
shots?
off the hull.
Do you have any other shots?
Well, the leg unit, I put it on there just for giggles. I guess there's a chance maybe they could at least suppress one of your guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's a range of 2. And you've got a rifle squad at range 2.
Yeah, they're talking about special ammo here. I think we didn't really say we were going to use that, but yeah, if I had it available, you're right. That would have been a better thing to use to try at that range.
Well, at APCR, now you would have had, now that would have been long range for APCR.
It would have been long range. So
now
that's
rolling
the
a
trade-off.
5, because now you would have had to roll to get it. Okay, first of all.
It's a lesser chance to hit, but yeah, once you do hit, then you actually have a chance to penetrate and do some damage.
Now you would have also had to have rolled to see if you had it available.
Right.
Under ammo, it's an A4, so you would have had to roll a 4 or less to have it available. And then it would have been a longer shot. Now you did roll 5, which you would have hit even with that.
All right, so
okay, your
we're gonna
squad
go
has a GP of 9.
we'll go ahead and shoot at your 102 up there in the lead. Hex.
Okay, my GP defense is 4. And you're 9 to 4. So you have 32 and 65 listed. So go ahead and roll. Whoa!
Nice.
Okay, that's effective, but of course
But-
that's small arms versus
Yeah,
tank.
this is only small arms, so we're not going to knock them out, but it will at least will suppress you with that result, if I'm correct.
Yes, if an effective or suppressed result at point-blank range, which it was, the target vehicle is suppressed. You said
Maybe you'll
102?
Yes, 102. It'd give you second thoughts about trying to overrun these pesky little buggers.
Yeah, well, that guy wasn't overrunning you, so. Where are the suppressed markers?
Oh, look in the markers tab under
Yeah, I got
unit
markers.
status.
Unit status. Yes, there it is. Got it. Okay.
There we go. Okay, that is all of my direct fire.
Randy, on game card D, it has a summary of all of the combat effects. And on the last chart, on the left-hand column at the bottom, it says small arms, GP, direct fire versus A-type vehicle. The T-34 is an A, that's an armored vehicle. And and if you see the first bullet, it says, if an effective or suppressed result at point-blank range, the target vehicle is suppressed. It's on that chart, and it's also it's in the rules. It's in both.
Okay, I've done all my direct fire.
All right, we got some shots. Okay, so these three guys, one of which is now suppressed, are going to fire. So 102 and 109 are going to fire at your 100. No, you didn't change the numbers. Okay, they're going to fire.
Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. They're going to fire at the one on the left as we look at the map. And then my other guy,
103 instead.
And then my 107, the one on my right, he's going to fire at your 103. Okay? So the suppressed guy and the middle guy are firing at 100, and my guy on the right 107 is firing at your 103. So
Okay.
let's do the two firing on one. So the range is 10. Which is medium, and you're obviously not moving because you fired, right? So that means that now what's the size on the stud there, Rob?
See, they have a -1 for size.
Okay, so that makes it a 45. 45 for my regular guy. And then my suppressed guy has a 20, because suppressed is -5 more. So I have -1 for size and then -5 more. So I'm looking at a 45 for the unsuppressed and a 20 for the suppressed. Okay? So let's do my unsuppressed guy first, who needs the 45. Well, that wasn't good. He missed. And then the suppressed guy, who needs a 20. Okay, he didn't hit. All right, now my 107 is firing on your other stud, and he needs a 45 also. Man, that's some pretty.
I like it.
Yeah, that's some pretty lousy shooting. Okay,
This little squad up there has them really scared, I'd say.
Yeah, I think that must be what it is. All right, so I believe that was all of my direct fire, because you killed my other guy. All right, so that now is our moves. So why don't we just go right to the overrun.
All right.
All right, to overrun, you must have a move command. You can overrun leg. Yes, Joel will. This is the end of this turn, and you can overrun leg and towed units that are visible at the start of the turn. So you can't move, find something, and then overrun it. You have to have a spotted target at the beginning of the turn, just as like you would for firing. So I go ahead and move, and as I'm moving, it costs me 1, 2, 3, 4, because it cost me 1 to go uphill, and that is clear terrain. So now I'm in your hex, so we resolve the overrun. So I at a range of overrun, point blank, I have a GP factor of 6, and given that overruns are at point blank range, I also get to add in my coax machine gun. That's a plus 10 modifier. And overruns automatically add a plus 20 modifier. So I'm at a plus 30. And your defense, you're not moving in clear terrain. So you
Jim,
have
when you say you automatically add 20, is that where it says overrun attack and pinning fire?
Yes, it's either an overrun attack or pinning fire or plus 20.
Oh, I see. It's either or. Okay.
Either or. And your defense in clear terrain, not moving, is 2. So I'm 6 to 2 plus 30. So you have 35. Yeah, those are looking good for me. So you have 35 and 65 are the two numbers. So I go ahead and roll. Eduardo, thank you for participating. Okay, yes, I would like P500 on expansion 3. If you order about 30 copies, that should just about put us over the top. All right, so I'll go ahead and roll for the overrun. So I got a 28 plus 30 is a 58, which is still less. It's still 65 or less, so you are only suppressed.
Well, I'll count that as a win in that situation, I'd say.
And I'm going to continue on. I do have another movement point.
Okay. So the main thing is that overrun is basically just GP attack again, just with a couple different modifiers thrown in, but it's the same basic process.
Correct. Yes, it's a GP attack. It uses a GP attack that's executed during the movement phase. In any vehicle, it isn't just a tank. It has to have a weapon. So even a vehicle armed with just a machine gun could overrun. All right.
Randy, that modifier is at the very bottom of the GP chart. If you look, it's the last modifier on the chart.
So why don't we, it's pretty much 10:30. I don't think we have to finish moving everybody else. Why don't we just wrap it right
here?
Yeah,
just a few movement, a couple moving units to wrap up. But yeah, that's probably good there. Well, we got in a few different types of situations, so that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
I got to see it. Thank you. Thanks for everyone for participating. We can hang for a couple minutes if anybody has any questions.